Hello, I'm James Ezimoha. Welcome to Africa News. Let's see your headlines. China and African nations launch health collaboration initiative in Beijing. Residents in Madagascar protest over power and water shortages. Japan shut down Africa Hometown program following backlash and anti-immigration protests. Japan has scrapped its exchange program with 4 African countries following the widespread belief that it would cause a surge in immigration. The program was meant to foster cultural exchanges and provide a range of training opportunities in Japan. Tessema Kande reports from Jos, Nigeria.
The scrapping of the program called Africa Hometown Scheme follows protests by Japanese nationals on social media. Critics say allowing foreign nationals into the country will put pressure on their work and leave many of them out of jobs. But the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, says the protesters are misinformed about the program and their reactions are based on misunderstandings and confusion. JICA President Akihiko Tanaka, who announced the suspension of the program, says it does not deal with immigration issues and is not intended to promote immigration and has no plans to do so in the future. He added that they believe in promoting international exchanges and will continue supporting efforts to promote such. Immigrants account for only 3% of the population in Japan, one of the lowest among Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development economies. The 4 African countries meant to be part of the program were Nigeria, Ghana, Mozambique, and Tanzania. The JICA Africa Hometown Initiative was launched last month at the Tokyo International Conference on African Development with the goal of promoting exchanges between Japan and the 4 African nations. The decision has been met with disappointment in Nigeria. Officials have yet to comment on the situation, but some young Nigerians who have been looking forward to participating in the program hope the Japanese authorities will reconsider their decision. Tessem Akende for A News in Jos.
Let's talk to Onoto David, a writer and public affairs analyst from Jos, Nigeria, about the cancellation of the Africa Hometown Initiative in Japan, a program that aimed to foster cultural and educational exchanges with 4 African countries, including Nigeria, Tanzania, Ghana, and Mozambique. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, James.
Now, what was your initial reaction following the cancellation?
I must say it is quite unfortunate. I was shocked by the cancellation, given that many young people here in Nigeria, not only the young people, look forward to exchange programs of this sort where they can express their skills, their cultural acumen, and generally how gifted they are in areas of education and music, arts, and cultural versatility. So hearing that a program that was launched last month has been cancelled due to misunderstanding and confusion is quite shocking, especially for many young Nigerians who were looking forward to this opportunity as another avenue where they can express themselves and learn, from an international audience and also share with people back home. So it's quite shocking, as you can imagine, back here in Nigeria.
Now, according to the official statement, the program was misunderstood as an immigration initiative sparking backlash and protest in Japan. What does this reveal about public perception and narrative surrounding Africa in Japan?
I must say it reveals that there's quite a lot more that needs to be done with regards to diplomatic language. We need to, a lot needs to be done in enlightening the public, and beyond enlightening the public, the framing of certain words and how it might be understood. I won't call it a language barrier, but it's not a language barrier. It's just, it wasn't clearly stated out. The initial confusion arose from the framing, which says hometown African hometown, the African hometown initiative. And a lot of Japanese citizens will mistake it to mean that certain municipalities or local governments or certain swaths of their country were going to be given to African immigrants, which ordinarily is unacceptable, as any government who has the goodwill of its citizens at heart will take that seriously. So for the fact that this was misunderstood, it reveals that a lot more needs to be done in terms of clearer communication and diplomatic interactions.
Now, many young Africans were reportedly looking forward to participating, as you already touched upon. How do you think this cancellation affects aspirations for international exposure and skill building?
In huge ways, in ways that at the moment we can't really measure how much, because I do know for a certain that since the mid-1980s, Japan and Nigeria has enjoyed immigration and exchange programs. As a matter of fact, as at 2017, we can tell for a fact that there are over 3,000 Nigerians living in Japan. So with this sort of protest in the streets, it started on the social media and then it was taken to the streets. Even after the JICA president recalled, cancelled the scheme, the protest still went further because a lot of people misunderstood it. And this merely means that immigrants from Nigeria, and not just immigrants now, but temporal visitors on exchange programs will be looked at a certain way, will be looked at in ways that might imply that they are unwelcome. And who knows how this can spiral. Although the JICA has already said that they will continue engagements with Africans, countries in other ways, use other platforms, it doesn't take away the fact that a lot of damage has been caused by this misunderstanding, and it will take a lot to be fixed.
Now, how does this event reflect the broader challenges African countries face in navigating partnerships with countries that have strict domestic policies on immigration and public sentiment?
It's not looking good, I can tell you. It's not looking good, especially with the Libya situation, the situation in the U.S., the deportation, Trump's policies. So, what really is the future for Asian, for cultural exchange, for arts, for dance, for just a look at a better life? Because African countries such as Nigeria have had issues with immigration. Of course, a lot of young people they're looking for better life, better economic opportunities beyond the shores of their country. And with this situation, it only worsens the problem. There are those Nigerians and African citizens from who go to countries abroad through the legal means. Not everyone go through illegal means, go through illegal ways. There are those doctors, there are artisans, there are skilled men and women who are doing great work in other countries and making a name for themselves. But it doesn't mean that there are not others who take the illegal route. So this situation is a quandary actually, and needs to be fixed quickly so as to separate those who go illegally from those who are there on legal business, so as not to totally destroy the diplomatic relations that have been built over the years.
Now, speaking about long-term implications, could this incident have consequences for Japan's strategic engagement in Africa, particularly in competing with other global actors in education, technology, or development aid?
may not in the long term, but at the moment, temporarily it might, because of course there will be a response from the government. I know the Nigerian government has also clarified its position, saying that in line with JICA, saying that it was a misunderstanding. However, if it is nipped in the bud early enough, if it is fixed, and a lot of citizen engagement, a lot of enlightenment, a lot of education campaigns regarding the exchange programs is put out there, a lot of people will be enlightened, and in no time it will be behind us. So long term, it wouldn't really affect the relationship between Japan and Nigeria if it is properly handled. But if it is left, as it were, having citizens protest on the streets, having on social media rampage and lots of, say, negative news between both countries, it will definitely affect their relations going forward, as each one would look at the other as suspects. So I think that the foreign affairs ministries of both countries have a lot on their table, and they need to act fast. They need to move fast in nipping this monster in the bud so as to create a good playing field for future collaborations, especially as regards education and cultural exchange programs.
Well, David, thank you very much for your time and insight. We have duly appreciate you. China and African nations have launched a health collaboration focusing on knowledge exchange and technical cooperation. The first China-Africa Health Cooperation think tank dialogue aims to strengthen research, innovation, and partnerships.
Diplomats and health experts from across Africa and China hosted the first China-Africa Health Cooperation think tank dialogue in Beijing. The event marks the inauguration of the China-Africa Health Development Knowledge Exchange Center. The initiative is expected to improve research, drive collaborative innovation, and strengthen partnerships among China, Africa, and global health institutions.
With rising unilateralism and tightening global health resources, the challenges facing Africa's health systems are more pressing than ever. That is why today's dialogue on resilience and universal health coverage is so timely, and the Knowledge Exchange Center will be a new engine for high-quality China-Africa health cooperation.
The event marks a shift from material aid to capacity building.
I honestly envision a future where China can help Africa leapfrog by not going through the long journey of reforms that other countries have come through, but just starting from where other people are today in terms of the health systems, infrastructure, the equipment that we're using, and the human capital training that we need.
It's long overdue. I wish we had it 10 years ago. I think there is room for knowledge exchange, for training, for collaborative research, and above all, cementing people-to-people relationship.
Across Africa, dozens of hospital partnerships help doctors perform thousands of surgeries and independent lab tests. In the next 3 years, more new joint medical centers will focus on training and technology transfer to boost local healthcare capacity.
It's basically creating a platform where Africa and China can sustainably stand and exchange on health issues. Taking stock of what are the key issues among African countries and then consolidate this into a workable kind of, document or whatever.
This year marks the 25th anniversary of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, or FOCAC, a high point in their partnership.
In Madagascar's capital, thousands of residents have taken to the streets, demanding an end to ongoing power cuts and water shortages. The unrest has prompted authorities to impose a nighttime curfew as violence escalates.
Tens of thousands protested in Antananarivo over prolonged electricity and water shortages, blocking roads and clashing with police. Frustration has grown amid persistent service failures and poverty, with critics accusing the government of inaction since last year's re-election. Protesters in the capital say their demands are urgent and ongoing.
Give the people water, give the people electricity. The people are suffering too much. You in high places take advantage of your power. The people are suffering too much.
We no longer have any protectors.
We want the world to know that the Malagasy people are suffering. We're not going to fight you, but allow us to ask.
Workers say the violence has cost them their jobs and livelihoods.
We've lost our jobs and we've got a family to feed, and yet the cost of living keeps going up. So we're going to have to stop eating. We're cutting back on what we eat. In other words, we're only going to eat once a day.
Authorities have imposed a dusk-to-dawn curfew while calling for calm, but demonstrators warn that dissatisfaction will continue unless the government restores basic services quickly.
Nigeria's Supreme Court has permitted lawyers to file a late appeal against the death sentence of a local musician for alleged blasphemy. Citizens, lawyers, and human rights groups are closely watching as the case brings into focus tensions between religious law and the constitutional protections in the country.
Nigeria's Supreme Court on Thursday granted lawyers representing a musician sentenced to death for alleged blasphemy permission to file an appeal outside the legally prescribed time frame. Yahya Sharif Aminu was convicted in 2020 by a Kano State Sharia court for allegedly making blasphemous remarks about the Prophet Muhammad. His legal team argued that the trial was flawed, citing the absence of legal representation during proceedings. Kala Alapini is Sharif Aminu's lawyer.
You must remember that he's still innocent. He's not guilty because the death sentence was quashed about 4 years ago at the Appellate Division of the Kano State High Court. And then we've gone all through the stairs of the various courts, and we're here now. He's still appealing, he's still stating his innocence, that he's not guilty. He doesn't want to go back to the Sharia court for a retrial.
The defense also challenged the constitutionality of sections of Kano State Sharia, or Islamic law, that prescribe capital punishment and amputation, arguing they conflict with Nigeria's secular constitution. Lamido Abbasarandinki represents the Kano State government and defended the original verdict.
We will not condone it. Anybody that has uttered any words that touches the integrity of the Holy Prophet, we will punish him. And let me tell you one thing, this man will be executed if this court, upon the decisions of the law, will execute him.
The case has drawn national and international attention, highlighting tensions between religious law and constitutional rights in Nigeria.
Well, that's all we have today in Africa News. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to A News.